Okay, so I added some other little wrinkles in there and I want to see if they're going to look right. So I can't remember if I saved it, so I'm going to save it. And I might want them to be a little darker or a little lighter or take them off. I just want to see. So, okay, and you see how it just gave it a little more wrinkles? Now, you can always, it's a separate layer. If you want, you could go back here on your overlay brush, and it's two of them, so you're going to have to do both sides. You could always click a couple times to make those separate ones a little darker. Go over here and click it a few times over here to make those a little darker. And since they're already really, really light, it's not going to be that noticeable. And then just save that. And I don't even know how noticeable it'll be in the paint. But anything you can think to make it look a little more realistic, go ahead and try it. And let's see. It's just a little darker. It isn't a lot darker. So we'll, okay. Alright, so there's your wrinkles around your crotch area. So now it's a dress pant, so you don't want like tons and tons and tons of wrinkles. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to add another layer. And I had forgotten something, and so I'm going to do that real quick because you always want your highlights to be underneath your wrinkles. So I'm going to grab my little light purple brush, put it back on normal. Um, oh, yeah. Oh, so, just a second. I'll tape. I forgot. Oh, I think I am already taping. Okay. Yeah, I am taping. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get a littler brush. Um, and right there at the knee, I'm just going to make a dot. I think I want a bigger brush than that though. I'm just going to make a dot at her knee and blur that up. And take the opacity down so it's hardly noticeable that it's there, but okay. That should be good. Now I'm going to add another layer. Make this black, this paint. And I'm just going to add some small wrinkles just around her knee, okay? Not real noticeable ones, but just some small ones. And so right above the highlight in white, I'm going to make a real shallow arc. I'm going to make another one underneath. Alright. And if you want, you could make another one, a little one like that or something. You know what I mean? It's up to you how many of them you want. And then you just do the same thing. You duplicate the layer, take your move button, move it down a tad, grab your bucket fill, make your paint black, and you don't want that to be black. Okay, there, there and there. Okay, click the top layer, click your arrow down, click the top layer, merge down, grab your smudgy brush, it's too big, so well, that's too small, and smudge those a little. And we're going to make these hardly noticeable at all because it's a dress pant. I don't want it to look like a pair of jeans. Okay, I'm going to try to round it. I'm trying to push them, like I was talking about, push them together a little bit. Okay, I'm going to blur it to a 3. And grab my brush, put it on overlay, make it big, and get that purple black color we had. 1, 2, 3, 4. And take my opacity almost all the way down. So I just want a bare minimum amount of them to be there. And then I'm going to duplicate that layer and transform it and flip it horizontally. And find it and put it on the other one. It's over here. It's right there. And just set it over the top of that knee too. And it still might be too, I'm not sure, so I'm going to merge it. I think I'm going to take the opacity down even more. Okay. Whatever you see in here, it shows up more on. Like if you think your wrinkle is really light and hardly can see it, you can actually see it better on the fit than you can on the template. So sometimes you're like, it's still so bright. I can hardly see it, but you can see them in here. So we're going to check that knee wrinkle and highlight. And as you can see, it's barely there. Just a little bit. Now, another thing you can do, because it's a dress pant, let's see. I'm going to add another layer and take my rectangle, select. I'm going to slide this all the way over, make sure it's all the way over. And just a little tiny bit, I'm going to, well, I got to grab my purple color. I'm going to grab the purple of the pant that we used and fill it. And now I'm going to go to Decor, add a bevel. Oh, and another thing about adding a bevel. When you go to add a bevel, make sure that this is almost always checked already. You got to uncheck it. But you can bevel it 1, 2 times. It doesn't matter. Now what you need to do is check, because it bevels all the sides, and you don't want it to be beveled here. You don't it, or here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and paste it and slide it over a little bit so that those side bevels aren't there. All right. And then I'm going to paste it again, get my move tool, and same thing, I want to make sure that that bevel, see that the edge bevel, I want to make sure that it's not showing. And you know, you can also do this. Another way you can do it is this. Take your rectangle, select, and cut off just that part. And then copy that, and then you don't have to worry about it. And then you can just paste it all the way across. You just go like, if you want to make sure, you can transform and flip it, copy it, undo your flip, and paste. Slide it next to the other one so that you can make sure that you get a seamless look. And then you can just do that all the way across. And paste. But I can already tell, like, I'll just cover up that one right there. And then, I'll just, there. Yep, it's all the way across. Okay, it's going to add like a cuff. Now, if you want this to be a little less in your face, you can take down the opacity of it, because it's purple. It's, the whole thing is purple. So all you're doing is just that bumpy look. You're taking it down a little bit. Now, another thing you can do with it is go to light and shadow, drop shadow, and on your drop shadow you want to make sure that this is not checked. Okay? And then I'm just going to leave it as at a 2, and you can see it added a little shadow. Okay? So we're going to save that. And then you can see if you like it cuffed or not. Okay. It's got a small cuff on the bottom of it. And you can make it wider if you want. You don't have to have it that tiny. But that's kind of classy if it's smaller. Now, you want to work on your belt. And so you got to bring, that's a separate mesh. Actually, it's right there. Okay, now this, because it has this buckle thingy in it, you actually have to make an opacity for this. So what you're going to do is add a layer, and we're going to use our white. We're going to grab our rectangle select, and we're going to select all this. That's your belt, and fill it with white. I don't know what this is, but it might be the edge of the belt, the other part that sticks out. But we're going to make that white, and then all these are your loops. So we're going to make that white. But this is your actual buckle, so you have to make an opacity for what kind of a buckle you want. So if you what I usually do, I can make a buckle myself. Do you know how to make a buckle? Okay. Well, we can do it two ways. You can go here. We'll just switch that. And we can put buckle in. And then go to images and look at buckles. And then you can pick a buckle that you like, or you can make a buckle. It's up to you. Now, when you pick a buckle, you kind of want one around the same size as that. So this one would be okay because it's quite near the same size, but it might be a little fancy for that fit. I don't know. But it is IMVU. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It just depends. I'm trying to keep the same, along the lines of the same thing, that it is that it's a dress pant. Like, this is kind of cute because it's already curved looking. It has a little curve in it. And actually this is nice because it's already on a PNG file, so it's in a layer. But we could try it. So this one, because it's already in a PNG file, you want to make sure that you call it a PNG. Well, actually it says it's in a GIF, but we can make it a PNG. And I'm just going to call it silver buckle dot PNG. And I'm just going to open it. Okay, silver. Okay, do it again. See, I had one there already. Okay, but this is the one that we want, and this is what I meant by it's nice. It's already on a transparency. Isn't that great? I just love that. So what I'm going to do is take my crop tool and cut it out. And I'm going to copy, and okay, so on this, what I'm going to do is, I didn't need it really that big, but I'm going to add a layer, and on top of this, I am just going to make that black. I don't have black. Okay. I'm going to make it black on top of it. And where I made it black, I'm going to lower my opacity so I can see. Now I'm going to add another layer and copy this and paste it on top of there. So now I got to size it. And I don't know what this is going to look like because it's curved. So, but what I'm going to do is go to the scale layer, and it's 147. I'm going to make it that. See, it has to fit in there. So go back to my layer, scale it again. I'll make that 80, and I don't think it's straight. Is it straight, or do I got to move it? So I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. Okay, so now I'll make sure that it's in the middle, perfectly in the middle. And I'm going to fill it with white and anchor it. And now I'm going to go back to that black layer and bring my opacity back up so that it's black. So this I'm going to save and put that in my opacity and see on my belt. So click the belt, click the opacity, and put that in. And it's going to just kind of like curve right there. And it's up to you if you think you'll like that, but I'm just going to try it. So I'm going to go back here and okay, I just took everything off of it, and then it doesn't matter if you can see through it anymore. This is going to be our texture and not our opacity, so it doesn't matter if that shows through. Okay, so I just took everything off so I could see the texture again. And now I'm going to add a layer, okay? This is our belt right here, so I'm going to take my rectangle select, cut this out, and I'm going to add my original purple, and then I'm going to copy that purple and paste it over the top, and I'm going to work on that layer, that pasted layer. So, and that what that does is gives me that purple background. So anything that's see-through is going to show that purple background. So I don't have to worry about whether I get, my transparency or whatever too transparent, because there's always going to be a purple background underneath it. So all I do to make belts is put my paintbrush on normal. All I really do is I just scribble a different color in the same color family. I might get that really dark purple that we had to put some of that in there. The shinier that you want it to look, the more lighter colors you put in it. So we could actually get some white, and we could just like put a little white in there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is blur this up. Okay, so I blurred it up a bit. Actually, I think I'm going to go to my map and make it seamless too. And then I'm going to blur it some more because it has some little lines when I did that. Okay, now what I do to make this look like a leather is I go to distorts, And then I go to mosaic. And this tile size, I make it all the way to the bottom. And you can play with all of this, anything in here you want. It isn't going to make a tremendous bit of a difference. Okay, so what that did is it kind of made it look leathery. Now I'm just going to anchor that. I'm going to get my color select. Oh, that one ain't going to be right. I want one that has a lot more of the colors in it. That ain't really giving me lots of colors. Okay, since it doesn't want to give me lots of colors, I'm just going to add another layer and a really thin line. And blur that. Okay. I'm going to add another layer. And right here, I just want a little edge. And that little edge, I'm going to make it my darker purple. Okay? And this time, I'm going to get my regular purple. And I'm just going to make a couple dots along it. And then I'm going to get my light purple and put some little dots along there too. And then I'm going to blur this horizontally, maybe a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go vertically to a 10, and you can see it up here. Horizontally, I'm going to blur it until it's almost all together. See how it's almost all together? And now I am going to go to my decor and bevel it. Bevel it once, bevel it twice, copy. Nope, I don't want to copy it. I want to flip it vertically, copy it, undo my flip, and paste. And I'm just going to move it up to the top one. So it's on the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to add a little drop shadow, just a little one. Okay? So, and then if you want, you can always go to that other layer. It's not this one. It's not that one. This layer here. You can click it, put this on black, put your paint on overlay, get a big brush, and just overlay it if you want it darker. Okay? And you still have that highlight that you put on the top because you didn't overlay, you didn't make that darker. You know what I mean? So you have a little shine and it shows up a little more. Okay, so I'm going to save this as my flare belt texture. Oh, and I forgot to tell you something else too. I'm going to do it real quick here. On our paint texture, when you're done, or even periodically while you're doing it, when you're done with it, save it as a PSD file. So, PSD. Do you understand PSD files? Okay, then I don't have to explain it to you. Alright, so I'm going to put the belt texture in, see what it's looking like right now. Okay, so that is this one over here. Alright, so the bottom, I am going to duplicate that layer. Was that a whole layer? I don't think so. flip it vertically, and nope, it was that whole layer. Okay. Undo flip, undo add a layer. I want this one. I don't even think I have to flip it, but duplicate this layer. Okay, there it is. It's the whole thing. It's not just one, but that's okay. I'm going to make it, I'm going to raise it a little bit. It doesn't look like it's showing on the bottom one. So I'm just going to raise it up a little bit. Make sure it's in there right. And it shouldn't really affect that one. But in case it does, I'm going to erase, yeah, it did affect it a little bit. I'm going to erase it on the top and then see if it shows up a little more. I can already tell. I think right there it's going to show up a little better. Oops. I didn't do the texture. Okay, it shows up better now. Alright, so then you just take that layer, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to anchor it. Well, it's not going to anchor, but okay, I'll add a new layer. I'll add a layer, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my crop tool, I'm going to cut that out, and it's in layers, so I'm going to copy visible. So I'm going to copy visible, undo my crop. I have it on a new layer, so I make sure I have it on that layer. I'm going to paste it, and I think this is wider. It is. So what I'm going to do is resize it. I think it needs to be resized about maybe to a 50. Let's see if that will work. There's a way you can resize right here, I think. Scale tool. See if that'll scale up. That's right there. Move it over. Remember that we thought this was our other part of our belt? Okay. So now all you gotta do is your loops. So for my loops, I'm going to click this layer down here and take my opacity down so I can see them. Click the top layer again, add a layer, and I'm going to make loops. And I'm just going to go up here so I can see where the edges are. That one, it's a little bit over, but not too much. It doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to color this with that purple, of the purple of our pant, and then I'm going to copy it and paste it over here, paste over here, and that one looks like it's a little wider, so I'm just going to paste again and fill it in, and paste another one. See, they're getting a little wider, so you just paste over the top of them on the other side too. And one more. Okay. So then just anchor that. Add a layer. We're going to go back to our rectangle select, and I'm going to lower this so I can see. On the very edge, just a little bit, I'm going to make that black. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy and paste. And I'm going to put it on each side of all of them. Just paste, paste. I'm picky, so I like everything to look a little real, as much as I can make it real. Okay, I'm going to take my rectangle select and click outside of that so that it is anchored. And then I'm going to Gaussian blur. Just a second. It went away. Go back here. Reshow Gaussian blur. And that's way too much, so. Alright, I want to be able to see them. They don't need to be horizontal very much. That might even be too much. Okay, so horizontal to a 3 and vertical a little more. Okay? Now, you can take that opacity down off that too, so it isn't black. And then you're going to add another layer. Get your really light purple. And in the middle, you want a really skinny one. Did I add a layer? This thing is showing that it's still Gaussian blurring. I don't know why, because I already did it. Alright, so I'm not going to go all the way to the top of it. I'm going to go in the middle of it. And I'm just going to make a little tiny one. I'm going to copy it and paste it so that they're kind of in the middle of them. So you can see better. And all this will do is give it a little 3D effect so that they stand out just a little bit more. Okay, when I get the last one in, I'm going to anchor it, blur this, and this one, I might make the horizontal a little more. And that looks good the way it is. So I'll just save that. You can see it down here trying to Gaussian blur it. I'm just going to cancel that. Okay, so add that. And it's up to you if you like that belt. And you can also change the looks of the belt. You can go back to here. Where is the belt at? Way over here. Okay, for our belt, you want, no, that's not going to be it. Is it here? Nope. Yes, it was. It's right there. Okay. There. I just took my threshold up a little bit. If you want to, you can do this. Put it on shape dimpled, put it on silver or whatever color you like. Go on overlay. You can take your overlay down as much as you want. You don't have to have it all the way up. And then you can play with it. And it's going to go along with the shape because you have it on shape dimpled. But you can darken it up and make it a little more shiny. And save it. And it looks more metal. And then I'll just do this real quick. Those had some purple in them, but mostly blue. Go to my tops. See what I have in tops. Purple's not really a color that I'm really into, so I don't know what I got. That's a man's. That one don't really match. Close. What's this? It's pink. But you just put your girl on, dress her up the way you want. And that would be the pants. Now you have to learn how to make a top. So let me stop this.